What does he do?
Hi, this is Isabel Williams with Drinking and Thinking. This is where you tune in every Friday at 4 p.m. for happy hour, where we get to share your favorite drink and get to know each other. Hi, welcome back. This is Isabel Williams, Supermom and Super Mortgage Broker, hence the name We Save Loans. I'm here with Joe. I'm going to say his name incorrectly. Rosen,
baby.
Rosen,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Rose.
Average dad, average realtor.
So I'm going to let him introduce his favorite drink because this is Drinking and Thinking, although he's already been drinking.
Yeah. Well.
What do we have here?
Yeah, so this is a 4-shot hot mocha. And I get one of these every day. So I go work out about 5:30 every morning. I get done about 6:30. And I get one of these suckers in my veins, man. It keeps me going. And after lunch, if I start dying down about 2, 3 o'clock, I get another one just to ensure that I have a heart attack before I'm 50. Yeah. So be careful, man. Don't drink it all
So
at
Joe's
once.
trying to kill me. That's all I heard.
Nice and easy.
All right. 4 shots?
Yeah. I mean, don't down it, but yeah. It's more of a sipper, you know? It's like a fine scotch.
It actually tastes really good.
Yeah. Not healthy at all, but it will absolutely keep you awake.
But delicious.
Yeah, it is delicious.
So why is this your favorite drink?
So, I had 10 years in the Army. We talked about our Army experience background. And I did LVI. So LVI, you know what LVI is?
No, explain this OVI thing.
You go out and it's low-level voice intercept, right? So you go hide and you listen to bad guys, and then you report back to the hires what they're saying, right? So we would go out on these missions, and the missions in Afghanistan, one day the mission was at noon, and it was a 5-hour mission. The next day it was at midnight, and it was a 24-hour mission, and then you'd have 2 days off. And all of these missions, you never knew what was going on until it happened.
Yeah.
So about 2-3 weeks in, everybody's wiped out because we did not have the right habits, you know. Mm-hmm. And it's tough to prepare for that stateside. So
how can you?
And I never drank coffee, but I said, dude, I got to get something in my veins. Everybody's doing Monster and I don't even know, Red Bull. I don't even know what they were because I never drank that crap. But in the chow hall, they have...
Unless you want to sponsor the show, we love Monster.
Then, yeah, it's completely different. But... my buddy, I never drink coffee, and my buddy said, dude, you got to drink some espresso. I'm like, what is espresso?
Yeah.
So he gave me a couple shots of espresso, and I was like, I was feeling it. I was like, I feel great, man. I can go out and do the job. Yeah, but I was like, this is disgusting. It tastes like a butt, and I am not a big fan of eating butt. So I was like, I got to somehow make this better. And he said, put some hot chocolate in it. So I did that.
And it worked?
And that is apparently either a mocha or kind of a mocha. Yeah. Okay. Didn't know that. So then I came home and they're like, oh, that's a mocha. So now I'm just kind of addicted, yeah.
Well, I can see how. I literally have been sipping on this.
It's tasty, and yeah, you're going to be like 3 of you just on it in a second.
And this came from home? Or?
No, this is 1971 coffee. Or I think they're called 1971 roasters, but the sign says coffee. Right over by Hopcat and Tradition.
Okay.
Awesome place.
Shout out. Local businesses.
Yeah.
All right, love that. So, you pretty much jumped right into my next question.
Sweet.
Was what did you do before you got into real estate?
Yeah.
But we now know you're an Army guy.
I was an Army guy. So I sold in my early to mid 20s up at Edina Realty up in Minnesota, baby. And so that's where I'm from.
I've been there.
Yeah. And I sold up there at a place called Edina Realty. It was great. I loved it. I was selling my butt off, but I was a kid, man. So
how old? What's a kid to you?
I got in I think it was '04, and I was born in '82, so that would have been 20.
Yeah, you were a baby.
Something. Why can't
20,
I do
22?
math?
22?
18 and 4 is 22. Yeah, so I would have been 22, and it didn't matter. I could have made $1 million, honestly, and I would have spent 1.1. But I was making really good money. I was doing a lot of business, but the more I made, the more I spent. Because I was just a kid. I wasn't mature. I didn't have good habits. So my wife, DJ, her friend actually came back from Iraq. She was in the Army. She was on I think it was 22-month deployment. It was crazy.
Oh, my God.
And we went out and we partied that night when she got back. You know how it is.
Because you got to celebrate.
Yeah,
you
man. Damn, I've been gone forever. Yeah. Fresh air. And
where's McDonald's?
Yeah. So we went out, and the next morning, I bet I asked her 700 questions over 3 hours. And 2 weeks later, I was in talking to the recruiter.
Wow.
Because I knew I needed some sort of guidance. I needed a path, and I wasn't doing it. And I mean, you've been in the, you know how it works. Yeah. They make you learn how to be disciplined. So now it's just ingrained to me. When you add age, a wife, kids, and I mean,
military.
Military. Now I've just got a passion for it. So it's just banging on all cylinders now. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, okay. We've both kind of been in real estate for a little while. Like, what do you think, like, what advice would you give to someone new wanting to get into this? Or, you know, just someone that says, someone looks at you and is like just watching you. They see what you're doing. They just imagine that you're killing it. And they're like, I want to be that guy. Yeah. Like, what's like the realist advice that you would give someone like that? Most honest.
Yeah. So I see loads of people. Not so much on Facebook, but on Instagram. I get a ton of new agents asking me, what am I doing? How does it work? I want to get in. What do I do? And I'm just guessing, but out of 100 people that I would talk to, 3 of them will execute.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is, I'm generalizing here, but I think a lot of people go out and they look at houses with their realtor, and then they buy their $300,000 home, and they're like, wait, how much is the commission on this? 6%? 6% of 3, and then they start doing the math, and they're like, holy crap, I could sell 3 houses in a year and I'm rich.
Yes.
And that's as far as the thought process goes, and then they go get their license and get crushed, and they're like, I don't get it. And I think you have to, I mean, we were talking about this before we started. You have to be so incredibly committed to voice-to-voice interaction.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if you're cold calling, knocking on doors, open houses, networking groups. It doesn't matter. But you have to get in front of people and you have to say, hey, this is what I do. How can I help you?
Yes.
And people don't like doing that, especially now. It's getting tougher and tougher because Go
ahead.
I
think social media actually makes it easy for us to kind of hide behind the keyboard or the keypad.
Social media, texting, emails. I don't want rejection. So if I send those, I don't have to be rejected. Whereas voice to voice, I'm going to hear you tell me to get lost.
Yeah.
That's going to hurt my feelings. I don't like that feeling, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And then they do that for 12 months, and they're like, I don't get why I'm not being successful. And you have to be okay. You don't have to like it, but you have to be okay with mass rejection. Mass rejection. You have to voice to voice, whether it's over the phone or in person, prospect, and you have to be consistent every day.
Yeah.
You have to.
So out of 100 people that you talk to, if you're really lucky, you're going to get 10 that say, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And that's really lucky. I think that's
maybe.
kind of
I think you're being sweet here, but yeah.
But, you know, I literally was just having this conversation with another guy that called me about getting into the mortgage business. And I asked him, I was like, are you good with people?
Yeah.
Are you good with meeting people? Are you good with interacting with people? Do you actually enjoy people? Like truly enjoy people?
Yeah.
Not watching people, but meeting people and interacting with people. And he was like, I currently do door-to-door sales. And I was like, this might be for you.
Man. Absolutely.
If you are literally getting in your car and knocking on people's doors, this actually might be a good fit for you. So I'm actually excited about him. And I just kind of realized that a lot of times people kind of look at what we do from the outside and it's so easy.
Yeah.
You make it look so easy.
Honestly, the loan part, the,
real estate side.
Yeah, all that really, I don't want to say it's easy. It is easy once you know what you're doing, but the knowing what you're doing takes years, decades to perfect. And you don't perfect it because the second you do it changes, right? But it's the other 80% of your time, you have to go find customers.
Yes.
And I don't care what Keller Williams, Coldwell, Remax, Wells Fargo,
all of them.
They're going to tell you they're going to give you leads, but they're not going to give you the leads that you need to be successful. Yeah. You might get a handful if you're lucky, but nobody gets so many leads that is your business. You have to make your business or you're dead.
Yeah, and I actually believe that like a big thing is that you're really not going to cut your teeth on being hand-fed, right?
No, absolutely.
You're not going to have that killer instinct that's going to drive you to go to that next level with your business, because that's what you actually need is that thing that makes you wake up at 5:30 in the morning.
Yes.
Right?
I've told new agents. Yeah, if you're going after a company because they're giving you leads, you're already done. You lost. Go, like, forget the leads, man. Like, forget your company. Go out and crush it yourself. If they give you something, it's icing on the cake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody likes free. I love free.
Maybe.
So I love that. We jumped into so many of the questions that I was going to ask you. I would say, just out of your, having done this for so long, I mean, you talked about coming into it at 22, going into the military, getting back out and getting back into real estate. Who or what has influenced you so much that is giving you that, like that drive, that
give
push?
You like 7,000 people. I'll try to narrow it down to about 4 or 5. So, on a non-personal level, like, I'm a huge Tony Robbins follower. Mindset-wise, yeah. I think
I've done the fire walk.
You follow Tony? Yeah, man.
You did?
Dude, he just had one today. He was posting.
Yeah.
He's got a little girl. She's got to be like 9, 10 years old, and she's just like latched onto him. She's written books, and she's so... And when she talks in her videos, she's like, I've got the best way... Like, that's how she talks just like him when he's all fired up. But she did the fire walk.
I love it.
And she's just... Yeah, so I follow her, and she is so fun, her enthusiasm. But... That dude, if you listen to his story about when he was a kid and his father and his mother couldn't afford Thanksgiving and like what drives him, right? His why. It's so inspiring and it makes me think about my why. And that brings me to Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone's kind of goofy. You know who Grant Cardone is?
He rubs me the wrong way sometimes.
Yeah, I think he rubs a lot of people the wrong ways. But I don't like his sales tactics. Yeah. But I do like his tenacity.
Yes. And he's very audacious.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
Have you read the 10X Rule?
I have yet to put it on my list.
Oh,
It'll go on the list.
It's going to blow your mind. The whole, it's just like you were just talking about, I make 200 calls a day. He'd be like, dude, make 2,000 calls. And you're like, that's not even possible. And he's like, it is possible. But I'm telling you, he blows everything you think about reality away. Yeah, he's like, you're wrong. You can do 10 times more than what you think you can do. And it really opens up the gates to a whole new possibility, you know? I'm a huge Gary Vaynerchuk fan. You know Gary Vaynerchuk? Yeah, he's a social media guru, runs Vaynerchuk Media. And he's all about 2 big things. Number one, am I allowed to swear on this show?
Oh, yeah.
He says, eat shit in your 20s, right?
Yes.
Like, live on ramen. Live with your parents. Live with your friends and eat shit so that in your 30s and 40s, you can crush it. And it's so true. You see it, I see it, everybody sees it. You get these people who put in 3 months, 6 months, even a year of effort into whatever they're doing, right? It doesn't have to be real estate or mortgage. Yeah. And they're like, I don't get why I'm not being successful. And it's like, dude, you're 22. And this is going to take decades. Like, you have to keep going.
I run into it all the time where they want to start out at the top.
Yeah.
They don't want to work their way up.
Yep.
They want to be the boss coming in the door. And I'm like, you got to put the time in. You have to.
Yeah.
Like, I've been doing this since I was 20. I am about to hit 40. Just in case you guys didn't know. And fuck. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And I do make more money than most doctors.
Yeah.
But it's been 20 years of me grinding it out, investing, learning, going to trainings, going to see Tony Robbins, investing in Gary Vee videos and paying thousands of dollars to fly to different places to actually see these people speak in person. And that is what's got me where I'm at now. Yep. You know, it's not
the journey, man.
It really is. Like the money after a while, it's, you know, like you said, it's just a part of what we do, but it has to be a bigger driver than that. Yep. And man, like I see it all the time. People just don't want to give things up. Like they can't be uncomfortable. They don't want to be uncomfortable. Yes. Like I literally talk to someone and they know who they are if they're listening. And the conversation was, how can I save $60, right? Yeah. Or can I do this in order to save $60? Yeah. And I was like, you blow $60 a month somewhere random. You're just not paying attention. Pay attention. Yeah. Sacrifice. Yeah. Don't go out to eat. Cook at home. Yep. Take that money. Pay down your debt. Be free. Yeah. Be really free.
What's the reaction you get to that, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. You just hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Because now you called me out on something, you know?
Yeah, you're right. And then, of course,
and then they go back and get their Starbucks. Yeah.
And then it stops. You know, like, people don't realize, like, I tell them, like, for me, wealth hasn't been actually making more money. It's me keeping my money, which means I have to be debt free. I can't have all of these liabilities that I constantly have to be worried about every month. The reason people can't take a year off and travel the world is because they've got a car payment, a house payment, you know, all of these payments. And to them, it's unfathomable. Yeah. You know, and it was for me as well, right? I think we've all been there, but we realize, like you said, you know, living your life at level 10. Yes. What does that look like? Yes. You know what I mean? What are you doing to get there? You know, and I remember, it's a little personal, but I had, when my son was born, just looking at him, I really wanted to just take him and travel around the world. I wanted him to see what life outside of this box looked like. And he is now about to be 18. I have yet to do it. We've traveled, but not around the world like I wanted to. And this is goal for 2021 is to take a year off from my business. Really? Yep. And travel the world with my son. And I can do it.
Have you talked about that with him?
Oh, yeah. He's hyped.
He's fired up.
Oh, yeah. He's like, we want to go see the pyramids of Giza and the Great Wall of China. And, you know what I mean? All of these places that you hear about, but yet you never really even dare to dream to go see. So it's definitely on our list of things to do because, God forbid, I might not be here. Yes. And I want to do this. It's my bucket list thing.
And that's one of those things, like, long after you're gone, when he's telling stories about you, that's going to be one of the 2, 3, 4 things that he talks about is the summer, the whatever it is, with mom traveling the world, man. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
And you never think about that, right?
No.
Like that is our... You become like a legend, right? Yeah. It's our legacy. Yep. It's our legacy for our children. And so, like you said, I mean, I'm very inspired by my parents. Yeah. You know, I feel like they've brought me to where I am. Now it's my turn to take it even higher than that, right? Yes.
And I think, too, this is another big point to put out. It doesn't matter if you are self-aware enough to realize what you just said or not. Yeah. It's true. So your legend can either be, my mom rocked it for me and she fed us and she made sure we were educated and she traveled with us. Or it can be, they were average, we had an average childhood. Yeah. And you're making your legacy regardless.
Whether you choose it or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So, we've got a little bit of time. We blew through those questions. That was really awesome. We talked about Gary Vee and, you know, Gary Cardone. What are some of, like, books that you've read recently that you kind of feel like, man, that was fire? Yeah. That was fire.
So I told you the 10X rule was monstrous for me. That was a big one. Okay, one I just read recently. You know who David Goggins is?
I do not.
Dude, he is... So he's got a book, and I think it's called Can't Hurt Me. And he's got the most incredible story. Again, a lot of these people that I follow have horrible childhood stories, man. And I've somewhat jokingly talked about this with my wife. Like, maybe we just need to create a horrible world for our kids, and they'll come out rock stars, you know. But of course, you don't want to risk that. But
so somewhere that
but he had. I don't want to give away the book, but he had the most horrendous childhood, and like I'm something I don't know if any of my friends have ever experienced. Just horrible childhood, and he was not leading the life that anybody would. It wasn't a bad life. It was just a very average life. And internally, he had been so beat up mentally by all of the destruction his dad had caused. Wow. And every time he'd get a little bit of a leg up, it would get crushed. And then one day, he just woke up and he built some habits and he just got sick of his life. And he said, I'm going to change it, and I don't care if I die doing it. Yes. And I mean literally die. Yeah. And so now this dude has the world pull-ups record in 24 hours. Oh my God. This dude ran, I want to say it was like 8 100-mile races, 8 weekends in a row, which usually you need like 6 months off. And he says multiple times. I had the Audible audiobook because I never have time to read, so I always listen to it while I'm working out.
It always puts me to sleep when I read a book.
But he says multiple times, this book is not about me. This book is about you and how you can be the hero of your own story, whether it's through losing weight, being an Olympian, starting the biggest business, being the wealthiest, whatever. Yeah, but just decide what you want and just, with no limits, incessantly go after it.
That
and
passion.
and this dude literally every day puts himself through hell on purpose because his belief, and I agree with him, is the more you challenge yourself, and like you said before, right? So many people want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
The more you challenge yourself and put yourself in uncomfortable positions, and the more you can get comfortable with the uncomfortable, the more successful you're going to be because you just don't care, right? You're like, let's do it. I don't care what crappy situation we're going through. I'm going to crush it. Yeah. So it's amazing to see that guy's just transformation internally. Yeah. So that's a big book I'd recommend.
I love that. And like you said, it's him.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Right, it was him deciding. It was him putting forth the effort.
Yeah.
Like, I remember someone saying this quote, and it still sticks. No one is coming to save you.
No, 100%.
You have to save yourself.
Yes.
Right? And we're all so caught up in thinking Superman's going to just knock down the door and come rescue us from a burning building. No, you've got to put that fire out because you created it.
Yes.
You created the fire that you're standing in.
Yeah.
And it's burning you up, and you have the ability to put it out.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and even, sometimes you don't create the fire. Sometimes other people create the fire just happens. It doesn't matter if it's fair, not fair. It is the fire you're in, and you're either going to come through the other side successfully because of you, or you're going to burn.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's fair or not. It doesn't matter if you're the victim or not. It just doesn't matter. For you, you have to crush it all day, every day, for you, for your kids, for everybody watching you,
I love that. What's the name of that book again?
Can't Hurt Me.
Can't Hurt Me.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. And I never read the book. I did the audio. And the audio is cool because in between
Audible
chapters,
gets my money every month.
Yeah, man. In between chapters,
every month,
it's him and the guy, the narrator, just kind of BSing about the last chapter, and you get so much more insight from it.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's cool.
Yeah. So we've got 10X. You Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah.
Anything else that you've read lately that's like...
If you're a business owner and you're either kind of plateauing, you can't get over, whatever market is, or you're just starting, right?
Yeah.
The E-Myth Revisited. Have you read that one?
I love that book.
Unbelievable book. Because it's what everybody does, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm going to pick on my wife a little bit here because there's no way she'll watch this, so she'll never know. It's more than 2 minutes? Won't happen, yeah. She watches none of my stuff. But, what are you laughing at? But, when we first got together, I've got a business background, so we started talking about business and what she's in love with, what she wants to do. She loves yoga, she loves Pilates.
Yeah.
And so she kind of caught the business bug just being around me, and she said, I want to start my own yoga studio or Pilates studio, whatever it is. And I already knew where this whole thing was going. So I slowly walked her through it, and I said, listen, you want to start a yoga I can't even say no. Yoga studio, yeah, because you love yoga, right? Yes. I'm like, if you start a yoga studio, yoga's the last thing you'll ever do again. Because you've got to hire, fire, accounting, all the, you've got so many things you have to do. Market, you will not have time to do it. Yeah. And if you do find the time to do it, you're not going to be doing all the other stuff you need to be doing, and you're going to fail.
Yes.
So
agreed.
You either have to love business, like the game of the business, or you have to go work for somebody else and make 20, 30 grand a year. That's just the way it is.
And enjoy doing
yoga. And enjoy doing it. Yeah, that's not a failure.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
Enjoy doing yoga. You get to do the thing that you love, right?
Yeah.
And you get to hand off the business portion of it. And, I love that book. When I read that book, I was like, holy crap.
What was her name? The pie maker.
I can't
remember.
Sarah? Sarah or Suzanne. And I think it started with an S.
I can't remember.
But I'm like, that is so mean. I'm really good and talented at making pies.
Yeah, yeah.
But I wasn't good at running the business
yes.
that made the pie.
Yes, and streamlining it and growing it and building another shop and you really got to pull yourself out. They always say work on the business, not in the business.
Exactly. And so I think that a lot of times that quote gets lost on a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
Yep.
What does it mean to work on my business and not in my business? Isn't it the
Yes.
same thing? Aren't I still making money? Right?
Yes.
So, I if you haven't read it and you're just thinking about starting a business, it's an
Yeah.
idea that's popped into your head. Read the book.
Yeah.
You know, be sure that it's actually a venture that you want to take on. Because a lot of times you actually make more money selling homes, right? Because that's where the money's at. It's in the commission, not so much running the brokerage.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I've talked to, when I got in again, I called all my super successful buddies and said, listen, you were a top 1% guy. You went and, opened your own brokerage. How did that go? Because I was considering it. And they said, dude, do you like your life or your family or anything? And I'm like, what? And they're like, if you do, don't do it. Because you're going to make a little bit more money and it's going to be horrendous. Because now you've got all these agents to babysit and all their problems. And some of them are motivated, some of them aren't. And some of them, they're not trying for themselves, so you get kind of frustrated trying for them. It's different because you're not running you. You're running a whole bunch of people that are not you, and you're only making a little bit more for it. You're making a lot more for it, but you've also got a lot more expenses. So when you take the expenses from the added income, it's really not a whole lot left over.
Yeah.
You could have just done it yourself, made a little bit less, and been way happier.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree. So there you go. So we have E-Myth. We talked about Can't Hurt Me and
the 10X rule.
Okay,
Yeah.
so those, I've already got E-Myth. So the other two are going on my to be read.
Yes.
Awesome. So I think that we're going to take a little break, and then we'll be back with a few more questions.
Awesome.
Keep it rolling.
Oh, you want to keep it going? Never mind. I just got hacked. All right. So Joe has been so amazing. So we're going to actually ask him some fun questions. Not that wasn't fun. That was actually really cool. But I'm going to ask you a couple, random things.
Cool.
How would your parents describe what you do for a living?
Describe what I do for a living?
Yeah.
So, my mom... I'll end with my mom. My dad would... So, he's a property manager in Phoenix.
Okay. All right. So, he's kind of in the business. So, he kind of knows how it goes.
He would say, he's a realtor. He sells houses. And that would be it. He's pretty quiet. My mom would just giggle a lot because she's got a big personality, and she would ramble on.
Probably where you get it from.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. And she'd ramble on for 45 minutes about stuff that I did. She'd forget the question altogether. She'd answer 7 other questions. And then at the end, she'd say, what did you ask me? And then she'd probably say the same thing. Oh, he's a realtor. He sells houses.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, my mom actually used to be a realtor too.
Oh, so see, they get it. They get it.
Yeah.
Usually when you have parents that aren't in the industry, they look in from the outside and they're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I had the past guest last week said that his mom thought he was like the stars on HGTV, that he just drove around in a fancy car.
Yeah, that's what I am.
And that was his job.
Yeah.
If you were on your deathbed, not that I'm trying to kill you, what would be your last meal?
My last meal?
Yeah. The one thing you would have to eat one last time.
I know what it would be. Ooh.
Kind of hard?
Man. So, all right, I know where I'm going to go with this. My favorite meal on the planet is a nice filet, medium rare, with garlic buttered mushrooms.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Now I'm hungry.
And then some snow crab with melted butter.
You thought about this.
Oh my God. Dude, my kids and I always talk about it. I'm like, if you were locked in the bathroom for 3 days, but you had to stay in the bathtub, you can bring 3 things, but they're not people. Like, we do this kind of stuff every day. So I'm already ready for this. Yeah, we've done this game, man. So that is what it, if it was just based on what do you like, it would be that. Yeah. But one of the most influential people in my life on several levels was my grandma, my mom's mom, and she made the most incredible pork chops, potatoes, and gravy, right? I'm from Minnesota. I'm a Midwestern boy, yeah. So she made, that is absolutely a Midwestern meal, and it was so hearty and delicious. And when I eat it now, I remember all of those meals we had over the decades, and all the conversations and all of the holidays. And when I used to visit her after I left the house, when I was 18, I went to college, whatever, when I would come back and visit her, because she'd call me maybe every month or two, and she'd have some random Joe, I need you to come clean my gutters out. Or, hey, I've got a jar of pickles in the basement. I need you to bring them upstairs. So I'd have to drive 45 minutes to get a jar of pickles and bring them upstairs, you know. And then my payment was always the pork chops, potatoes, and gravy. Yeah, and
That sounds like a fair trade.
Oh, my gosh. She got the raw end of that deal, man. But it started, like, it was literally just me being honest, but I kind of embellished over the years where when I would take that first bite, I would just go overboard. I'd be like, oh, this is so amazing. And I would do that for like 2-3 minutes.
Oh my
and
God.
She would just sit there beaming, and she loved it. Yeah. So it was a whole experience, man. So
I love that.
I guess if I had to pick one, it'd probably be that, because there's a lot more attachment to that.
Yeah, I love that. That's kind of those things, like, it's amazing how certain things will just trigger a memory.
Yes.
Right? And that's just incredible. So
Yep.
I want to have your grandmother's pork chops.
Oh, man. Well, come over anytime. I'll make them for you.
I like it.
Yeah.
So what would you say is your one favorite word that you feel like you can't do without?
Word?
You say it all the time. Not everybody's going to know, and they're going to pay attention the next time they hear you talk.
There's if you asked, okay, it'd be 2 words. Like, it's a little phrase,
okay.
yeah. I always say fired up.
Fired up.
I say it all the time. Yeah, it's my little phrase I throw into all my YouTube videos, and, you know, stay fired up. Are you fired up? Get fired up. I just, I've got so much motivation and just,
you feel it.
Yeah,
you feel it.
Genuine positivity, and I'm just fired up, man. I wake up fired up. I stay fired up, and when I falter, I go get a little 1971 this coffee, really, and boom, fire in the veins, baby. So, yeah, fired up, I guess. I'm cheating there with 2 words, but
I like it, though. Like, I think a lot of times there is, like, mine's awesome. I love the word awesome, but I love the word audacious, right?
Yeah.
You know, when I think of that, I think of people that are just out there and just fired up, right?
Yeah.
They're out here and they're just living their life on this, not the regular level, right?
Yeah.
They're above that. They're amazing. So when I think of that word, I use it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, somebody says they did something awesome, right?
Yes.
I really feel that word because, like I said, I love audacious people. I love the energy that they give off. Because it is definitely living not asleep.
Yeah.
Right? I think too many of us are, like, just on autopilot.
Yep.
Right? So I just love feeling that energy.
I was talking with a seller today, and she dropped gregarious on me. And I was like, whoa!
I haven't heard that word.
I gotta up my game here. Yeah, man. Holy smokes. So, yeah, man.
I like that. All right, so now you gotta use that one
gregarious. I don't know. That might be above my level. We'll see.
You're like, how can I use this word in the next video? I just find you to be amazing. But is there something that you're not good at? I may have to ask your wife this question.
No, you don't have to ask my wife. She'll give you a bunch too, but no, there's a million things I'm not good at.
Something that you would be like, we'd be surprised that you're not really good at that thing.
I am not patient. When I'm with a client, I'm patient. I think it's in my head to be patient, which is a good thing. But when I'm with people that I'm maybe a little too comfortable with, my wife and my kids specifically, I'm thinking, because it's ingrained in my brain, right? I've taught myself, move quickly, move efficiently, get as much done divided by time. I need to be efficient. And that's all I'm thinking all day, because that helps my clients, right? That helps my sellers, it helps my buyers, it helps my lenders, it helps everybody involved. They want me to get as much done in the littlest amount of time. So when you've got a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, your loving wife, and they're like, sometimes my wife will tell me a nice story that any spouse would tell, but it's during work hours, and I'll be like, hey, listen, you got 30 seconds, spit it out. And she's like, whoa, and I'm like, it's 100% true.
I don't know how he's still walking.
No, we've had to have a lot of, like, late night long, like, you know, after I'm off the clock, then we have the conversations about, okay, listen, we're in this situation, this needs to be okay, but during these hours, then we can talk like that. Like, and you have to do that with any, you don't have to do that, but if you want to have a good marriage, you need to do that.
Yes.
So, but you can have all the conversations in the world when somebody wants something out of you, whether it's your time or your ear or whatever, they're going to want it from you. So,
I like that. So just set the parameters, right? The expectations.
Oh, absolutely.
Right off the bat.
Yes.
So you don't get killed.
Yes.
By your wife.
Oh, and I have. And I've earned it. And I've learned you can't, even if that's the right answer, even if the right answer is during work hours we're efficient in our communication, you can't just do it. You have to get everybody on board. And that's not just a wife thing, man. That's an employee thing. You're the boss here. You can't just walk in and have the same expectations for them that you have for you unless you communicate that and make them understand. And it takes a while to do that. We were talking about how long it takes to train people. But if you don't do it, they're going to fail, and you can't blame anybody but yourself.
Yes, and I'm a big believer in thumb pointing, finger pointing.
Yes.
Like, what did I do? Did I set them up to succeed or to fail?
Yeah.
Did we go back and forth on what was expected?
Dude, my phone's over there. Gary Vaynerchuk just put out a, dude, throw it to me. He just put out a quote today. It was on Instagram, and I saw it on Facebook. I appreciate it, buddy. And it was about taking responsibility for yourself. I want to see if I can find it here.
Yeah. And I think it's so important because this is, I think, the reason why most relationships, whether marital, business, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This is why we fail, right?
Yeah.
Because we're so afraid to take responsibility for our own actions. It's just easier to push it off on the other person and say, well, if you would have done X, Y, Z. And I've been guilty of this. Like, I used to think
we all have.
My ex was psychic and he was supposed to be reading my mind, right? And just know what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I really got fortunate and just met some really amazing people that helped me be more effective and more efficient in communicating. Plus, they encouraged it, right? I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know what you're feeling. I want to know what you really want from me. And I can't know that if you're not telling me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? You're not just supposed to know what I want?
Yeah.
Fail.
Yep. Exactly, man. Exactly.
So I was like, damn, you're right.
Yeah.
Right? You're right. You're absolutely right. How can you know? How can you really know?
Yeah, you can't.
You can't.
Yeah.
I have to tell you. And you have to set the expectations.
Yeah.
So relationships across the board with our families, with our business partners, it doesn't matter, with our clients even.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Really setting
expectation management, communication. You have to train anybody, your kids, your spouse, your clients, to if you want something, you can't just expect it. You have to communicate with them. Yeah.
And the crazy thing is we get mad when they don't do what we're expecting them to do.
Yeah, magically.
And you never said anything,
Yeah.
right? Your wife is like, are you crazy?
All right, here's Gary's quote.
Let's see.
Blame yourself. It leads to the outcome you were looking for by blaming others. And, it doesn't... I've even told my wife this before. I've got the best marriage on the planet, man, with the most incredible... You'll meet her sometime.
Yeah.
Now
you want
No, you didn't meet her. She is 38 times better looking than me. And she
So you're the reacher.
Oh, yeah. Big time. And she's a sweetheart. She's an incredible mother, an incredible spouse. Yeah. But we've had so many conversations about, it doesn't even matter if you're right and the other person's wrong.
Yeah.
Just saying, sorry, it was my fault. What can I do to fix this?
Yes.
Instantly pulls down barriers. All right. So I'm a realtor, you're a lender, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you mess something up, whatever it is, doesn't matter. I mean, that would obviously never happen, but this is a fairy tale world, right? So you mess something up.
I'm a unicorn.
if I call a lender and say, hey, what did you do? Why did you drop the ball? The instant reaction is
it was
defensiveness.
Title.
Yeah.
The insurance
you pass
company,
the buck, you make up a story, you don't like me as much.
Yeah. It was your client.
Yes. But even if I know and you know that it was your fault, but I call and instead I say, hey, I must have dropped the ball here somewhere. I don't know what I did, but I really apologize. How do we get this back on board? Yeah. Instantly, you're like, well, this is probably my fault. And you just, all those barriers are taken down. Mm-hmm. There's a level of trust built. And I think that's not just a business communication strategy. You need that same strategy with your kids, with your spouse, with your sister, with
everyone.
Yeah. So we have always tried to get in the habit of saying sorry whether you mean it or not, because it's more important to get over the hurdle than it is to be right.
I love that.
Yeah.
You're going to be married a really long time.
Well, hopefully till I die. That's the goal, man.
Yeah, because you're coming from the right place. A lot of times I think people come into relationships already damaged.
Yes.
And that defensive mechanism is already built in, so the wall's already up, right?
Yep.
So I'm just waiting for you to mess up so that I can
jump on you.
So I can jump on you and attack you and say, you know what? I was waiting for you to do this.
I'm right. You're wrong. I'm better. You're worse. You're not up to my... Yeah. That's not the way... my feeling is once you commit... Number one, I think too many people commit too early. Okay. I'm not saying you have to be together for 2-3 years. And I'm not saying that if you're together for 3 months that's not enough. I'm saying that I think people don't always realize... I don't even care if you're religious, man. Just the idea of committing to somebody with the intent to stay with them for life, religion or not, I think so many people do it without the full intent of compromising themselves, their ego, their feelings to meld with that person unconditionally for the rest of their lives. And you need to bend. You need to be able to give. And if you're not going to do that, it's going to be a tough goal for you, man.
I think that too often people go into any relationship expecting for you to make them feel good. Right?
Yes.
And so the moment you stop making me feel good, whether it's a business relationship, relationship with family, I knew you were going to fail at some point in time. So they kind of go into it already with one foot out the door, you know? And I agree. I mean, when you're young, you don't know these things. Right? You haven't been through it. You may have experienced it as a child, one parent walking out and quitting. Right? And you're like, well, if dad did it, if mom did it,
that's the standard.
Then that's the standard, right? I just give up. Right? So we have to recondition ourselves, retrain ourselves, and then just realize that, it's not just a blessing to our lives, but to those that, we're fortunate enough to feed into, our kids, our family, our friends, because we're not always just doing it for us. A lot of times it's the people that are watching. You don't even know they're watching. They're paying attention. So it's huge. It's crucial. All right. So what is something weird or unique that you're a hidden talent? Something that you...
A hidden talent? I'll tell you something right now. And I don't know how this helps me. Okay. But you can write down a list of 50 things, right? Dog, cat, head, mailbox, whatever. 50 things. I don't see the list. You can tell me the list one time in order, and I can repeat it back to you in order without faltering once.
Were you a waiter in a past life?
I was. And that's where it started, man. I'll tell you where it started in a second. So you could literally do it right now. 3 hours later, after I'm engaged in other things, you could say, Joe, 17. And I'll be like, banana. It's just... But did you used to wait or bartend?
No.
Yeah. So I waited.
That'd be horrible.
Yeah.
You give me an order, I'd walk away and be like, what did he want?
I used to do... So I waited in Princeton, Minnesota, which is where I grew up. Yeah. But then I went to St. Cloud, because I went to St. Cloud State University. That's where I started my college. And my 10-year college career. And I went to college. I didn't finish any of it. And then when I got into the Army, I got 4 degrees. I'm telling you, man, no discipline to absolute discipline. Just a whole change.
So are you a doctor?
Am I a doctor? No, I'm not a doctor. A doctor of what? A doctor of BS? No.
I like it.
I got a master's.
If it's a real degree.
No, I got 2 associates, a bachelor's, and a master's.
Get out of here.
But,
see, that's unique and really random and weird. You have 4 degrees.
Yeah, and they're all worthless to me right now. I literally don't use any of them ever. Yeah, I think... So, 1 associate's is in intelligence operations. Okay. Army, right? Mm-hmm. 1's in Arabic. I was an Arabic linguist in the Army.
Can you speak Arabic?
Taban. Nam.
Oh. Naan-bread?
Naan-bread, yeah, man. Yeah. That was the best part in Afghanistan is when you were out on these... And you got all the good food when you were on the worse the mission was, the more the Afghans knew they had to lure you in to help them fight the Taliban. So they would bring you delicious. Fresh dead goat. And, oh my God, it was amazing. Yeah. But I
will die for this last meal.
Oh man, it was the best. But I used to wait in St. Cloud. I bartended in St. Cloud, and if I had a table of 8 or less, I'd just do it without writing it down, and people loved it. And
I would have been amazed.
It motivated me to do it because they would be amazed and they would tip me more. And so I thought, dude, I got to keep doing this, man. And then somebody just challenged me one time, and I did it. And yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know how it helps me at all, but yeah.
No, I'm sure that is an incredible talent because I wish I had that great memory. You'll tell me something, I'm like, can you text me or email me? Because I will forget to do it for you.
Yeah, well, you ask my wife, and she'll say, I don't know how that helps him because he forgets things all the time. So
like,
I think you have to want to remember it. Yeah, yeah.
He's not listening to me.
Selective memory.
All right, since we are, of course, superheroes here at the mortgage company, if you could have only one superpower, what would it be?
One superpower. This is going to sound so corny, but I think it would be I wouldn't want to give it away. I would say to be able to say or do or interact or whatever it is with everyone that I'm physically around and lead them to whatever makes them happy with my words. I think that I'm so... I invest so much time, effort, passion into helping other people. It's usually realtors, right? Because that's when you're a realtor, you attract other realtors. Yeah. And you tell them the way to success, or at least one way to success. Yeah. And so many people listen to it, they nod their heads, and then they go watch Netflix. Yeah. I always think, what could I have said differently? What one word could I have used? What example could have I expressed where it would have grabbed them enough to where they would have actually implemented it? And then, because Netflix isn't going to it's going to give you short-term happiness, but then you're going to have the long-term issues of, well, now I didn't work, so I can't pay my bills, or whatever your issues are from that. I just wish with everyone I came in contact with, I could say the right thing to get them on the path to long-term happiness. Yeah, I love that. That would be an incredible...
That's an amazing power.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that what I've realized kind of is people are so used to, like, negative reinforcement.
Yeah.
That sometimes it has to be painful for them, right?
Yeah. Yes.
They
and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, like they hear you.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't hurt.
Yes.
Right? They don't feel the pain of not doing what you've encouraged them to do. And I was talking to my youngest sister last night because it was her birthday. Happy birthday, Luna. I love you.
Happy birthday.
And I asked her a question about something that she's been struggling with. And I said, you have to really ask yourself, what is it costing me?
Yes.
If I continue doing this thing, what is the price that I'm going to have to pay?
Yep.
And if you're okay with paying that price, then that's fine.
Yes.
But if you're not okay with the price that you have to pay, maybe you want to change what you're doing.
Yes.
Maybe you want to change what you're doing.
Yes.
So we got to sometimes think about the things that we'll lose, right? If we don't do what we're supposed to do, what will this cost me if I go and sit down and watch Netflix versus making all my phone calls?
Yeah.
Right?
Can I share a great example to this? So I got to give a little plug here. I've got a YouTube channel. It's thejoerosenshow.com, right? It's all real estate.
It's good.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Watched it.
But I just linked up with one of the biggest real estate coaches on the planet. His name is Ricky Carruth, and we built a great relationship together. He has been the #1 RE/MAX agent in Alabama for I don't even know how many years in a row. He makes over $1 million a year in commissions. He sells over 100 homes a year.
Are you single?
This dude is not. He is actually having a baby on. It's either Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, he's locked up tight, man.
Fine,
and his wife is incredible. She's gorgeous. She's smart. She's amazing. Yeah. But so he took me on, and we've got a weekly show together. Because of that show, so many new realtors have gotten in touch with me and started asking me questions. So it was 8:30 last night. I get a phone call from a Chicago number. No idea who it was. I picked it up, and it was this guy who was a realtor in Chicago saying, I've been doing this for 2 years, and I'm just not, they always say it's going to start slow, but it's going to pick up. Yeah. And, dude, 2 years is a while. It's not picking up. How long is it going to take? And I said, no, 2 years is enough.
Yeah.
It's not the time. It's you. Yeah. And I asked him more questions about his business, and he started asking me if I was a Mike Ferry guy. And Mike Ferry, I don't know if you know who Mike Ferry is. He's very aggressive. He's what you would think of when you think of a sales coach, right? Like aggressive, nail people to the wall, get the appointment, make them say no 10 times. That's Mike Ferry. And he said, I just can't be Mike Ferry. And I said, dude, I don't want to be Mike Ferry either. Yeah. Even if it worked, that's not who I want to be.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that. to be successful. I said, how many calls are you making? Well, I just don't like making calls because I don't want to bug people. I said, do you want to help people? Because, I mean, you're going to bug people, but you're also going to help people. Like, somebody's going to need you, and they're not going to find you unless you call them. And we went on and on and on. But to support your point, he said, I just can't get over he didn't use these words, but I'm using these words. The rejection of the phone calls, the rejection of the door knocks. Yeah. And I said, okay, so there's a little bit of pain there, right? Yeah. Not literal pain, but just you don't like it. It doesn't feel good. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. Yeah. I said, how uncomfortable is it making $0 a month? How uncomfortable is it when you get those phone calls that say you need to bring your truck back in because you can't afford it? How uncomfortable is it telling your friends and family that you can't afford to go out and have a $12 meal with them because you're not making any money? How uncomfortable is that, my man? Wow. And I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm just saying you choose your pain. Yeah. Your pain is either I have to work and make phone calls or I can ease up on that pain, but now I have the pain of all those things I just mentioned. Yeah. You pick. Yeah. I'd rather pick my pain, and my pain is I wake up at 5:30, I go to bed at 10 o'clock, and I work my ass off every minute in between. Yeah, I love that. Now I'm choosing my pain.
Exactly. Yeah. So there you go, guys. You have a choice, right?
Amen.
You have a choice.
Yeah.
And I think that we forget that we do have a choice because we're not looking at it the way that you just described.
100%.
So I love that. Actually, I'm going to put that in my notebook.
Yes.
Joe, it's been just absolutely incredible. I actually want to do this again. So, we've already had our drink. But I want
you you drink it all?
I did.
Yeah, you're pretty good there. Yeah,
really good. What's the one thought you want to leave everybody with?
I think that, especially, this is a business. Yeah. I don't know if it's a business show, but you know.
Yeah. Well, it's more just you and me getting to know each other. Like.
But you're in mortgages. Yeah. I'm in real estate, and obviously part of the reason we're doing this is to build up our name in the community. And I think that so many people are focused on. Everybody's going to nod their head and say yeah on money. And I would say that instead you should focus on happiness, number one. Yeah. But happiness doesn't mean if you like painting, you sit at home and paint all day, because now you're going to have all those issues I was just talking, with that guy in Illinois. Yeah. So you have to find, and you're never going to be perfectly happy. Ever, 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 ever. I don't care who you are.
80-20 rule, people.
Yes.
80-20
yes.
rule.
You're going to feel a little bit of pain. Choose your pain so that you can have the most amount of happiness. And just build the life you want to build. And if that's making $1 million a year, great. If it's making $50,000 a year, but you get to do whatever you want and you're only working 30 hours a week, awesome. Don't let anybody tell you what your happiness is, but really chase happiness.
So where can everyone that's been actually paying attention to this show and listening in, where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm all over, man. You can go to Facebook. I've got a business page that's The Joe Rosen Show. My YouTube channel is thejoerosenshow.com. If you're local and you want to check out my website, it's findafloridahouse.com. I've got an Instagram handle.
See?
It's The Joe Rosen Show.
# Joe Rosen.
Yeah, just look up Joe. I was just at City Hall today talking with a gal, and she saw my shirt said The Joe Rosen Show. And in the time it took the other gal to help me, she's like, "Are you Joe Rosen?" And I'm like, "Yes." And she's like, "I read your shirt," which made me think, well, then why did you ask me? And she's like, "I just Googled you and you're all over." And I'm like, "Awesome, man. Go subscribe to everything." Yeah. But yeah,
I'm kind of the big deal.
Well, I'm not saying I'm working my butt off. I'll say that.
Yeah. No, I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
It was awesome.
Everyone, remember, every Friday at 4 o'clock, we have happy hour here with Drinking and Thinking. Look forward to seeing you guys back at the same, channel? Bat channel? How does that
Same bat time, same bat channel.
There we go. Thanks, Ross.